It's the 30th of October and it's time for the 30th film in my 31 Horrors of Mike. So today we're leaping forward from 1974 into 2007 and we're going to talk about the Spanish film Wreck. Now, Wreck is a camcorder horror film or a documentary horror film, much like Blair Witch or Cloverfield, where the entire film takes place from the perspective of a cameraman or person, to be politically correct, who's holding the camera and we get to see everything that the camera sees. It's a way of trying to bring the audience into the action of the film. And although it's a good concept, often it fails. But in this case, in terms of Wreck, it's probably about the most successful camcorder horror film that I've actually watched. So, what's it about? Well, Wreck follows a television reporter called Angela who has been assigned to a local fire station where she's supposed to spend the day and night with the fire crew that are there, go around the station. She has a cameraman with her, go around, interview the different people that work in the fire station, see what they all do when they're having their downtime, and then be there hopefully when they get called out to an emergency. So we get to know the characters, we get to see that they're all likeable, bunch, and they all have a good bit of fun and chemistry with the reporter and Angela. And then the fire alarm goes off, and they are out the door in their fire engine, and they're sent to an apartment building. They go to the apartment building, they're the first ones really to turn up, and they go in, and the reporter and the cameraman follow them. When they get into the apartment, they find loads of the residents sitting, sort of standing in the hallway downstairs, and they've been called because of, I think it's that they think someone's trapped in an apartment upstairs. So they go up to investigate, and lo and behold, they're presented with someone who is like a sort of zombie or a member of the infected, depending on which way you want to look at it, much like the infected in 28 Days Later. Not so much like the George Romero zombies, these ones are fast and brutal. So they then come down the stairs terrified and they find that the doors are locked and the building has been surrounded. And should they try to escape the building, they will be shot on sight because the building has been quarantined. The rest of the film then plays out as the residents and the firefighters and the reporter and television cameraman attempt to survive and try to find out some way of escaping the building without dying. That's the how the film plays out, and it is really frightening. I found it to be a roller coaster ride. People use that term a lot when it comes to films. It's very rarely that it's actually the case. So I think with Wreck, it really is the case. It's really frightening. It's the infected are sort of right in your face. You don't know who's going to turn into one of the infected at any point. And the apartment building very is really reminiscent of Polanski's apartment trilogy, and I'm absolutely certain that whoever made this, the two directors that made this, that they had studied Polanski's apartment trilogy, which was, I've talked about it on this list. One of the films we talked about, The Tenant, and most specifically probably Rosemary's Baby. It just The apartment building has that feel to it. It's very sort of dark, gloomy, and feels like it's out of place. Like it's a very sort of old-fashioned apartment building. And you also get the sense that it's quite a big apartment building. There's this sort of staircase which looms up and up and up and up, and we pass countless apartments. And yeah, it's just a fantastic film. It's really frightening because these guys, they don't have guns, they don't have anything really, and the firefighters kind of have to try and take charge. And again, they're told that they can't leave the building because it's quarantined. And obviously, the government officials know that this is a really dangerous illness, whatever it is. So they will kill anyone who tries to leave. Now, I don't want to spoil it, but one of the things I liked about this film is that it left the door open in terms of how you can interpret what's going on. You see, in one case, you can interpret the film that it's much like 28 Days Later. It's like a sort of virus thing. It's like, and then it's very much an infected film. But there's also other things in the film which suggest that the film is about possession, and because of that, you then have this sort of demonic theological perspective to the movie. And I think the fact that you can choose either one depending on which way you want to go, I think is really is a real positive for the film. I personally like the idea of the possession aspect of it. Um, I'm probably ruining it even by mentioning that there's I know, you know, just watch it. You'll see. Um, and there's also the idea as well, there's parts of it where you think people come back from the dead, which then would firmly say, well, it's an infected film, but it's also a zombie film. So it sort of covers all bases. It's, if I remember rightly, it's only like an hour and 15 minutes long. So it's just really impressive how it just, it's just an adrenaline rush the entire film. Um, and like I say, really frightening, in your face, and just really well crafted. And really, I can't see how anyone's going to better this in terms of documentary horror film. Wreck was just phenomenal. The sequel is called Wreck 2, funnily enough. It's decent. It's good. I liked it. It's not got the impact of the first one, but it does try to pick up where the first one finished. They're going to make more subsequent ones. There's also been an American remake called Quarantine, which I have not watched. I've heard it's pretty much a shot-for-shot remake. I have not watched Quarantine. There's also Quarantine 2, which is not a remake of the Spanish Wreck 2. It's its sort of own standalone story. Again, I haven't watched that either, so I can't really comment on it. But definitely, the first film, Wreck, is phenomenal. The second one is good, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I think they've got two more films planned. Apparently, I'd heard that the third one was going to be in the first person again, and the fourth one they're going to be brave and change it, and to change the perspective of the film into sort of third person. So we'll see what happens. But that's Wreck from 2007. Must see for any horror fan. Really frightening. Check it out. And I'll be back tomorrow with the final film and my 31 horrors of Mike. And I will see you all then. Bye for now. Don't know why I did that in a strange accent.